Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and something has happened in Hearthstone that throughout like 10 years, pretty much, well, the game's been out for over 10 years, that I have not seen happen ever. Although I wasn't around until GVG came out. This is just an occurrence that is ridiculous, and I want to do a deep dive on what might be the best Hearthstone card ever. It might just be. It's by far the most popular whatever, and you know, it's kind of perfect. It's got unity, it's got precision, and the numbers are absolutely staggering. And no, it's not, you know, a balanced meta or anything like that. We were going to talk about that. We're going to talk about this card, and if you enjoy the content on the channel, if you like and earn your subscription, please hit that sub button down below. Give the video a like, it helps out a lot. So the you know, our meta still really isn't balanced. Demon Hunter's too good, but you know what's common basically amongst all these classes is one card. One card is more popular than I have ever seen a card be, and that is Ziliax Deluxe 3000. It's got no mana, it's got no stats, but we all know the 8 different modules it can be put together. And since the latest patch, which saw Ziliax get nerfed, I might add you, the card got nerfed, and it is currently through at Legend, since the latest balance patch, in 63% of decks. We saw cards like Astalor get very close to those numbers. Prince Renethal didn't even get close to that. He was like 55, 60-ish%, and he got nerfed for being too popular. He had his time. We saw Sartanathrius at a very similar mark. The old school Ziliax is probably the closest to compete with this, but the crazy part about this is these numbers are just going to get crazier. These numbers are actually going to get more insane as Ziliax, people are, the more they're experimenting with it, are finding more and more ways to break it, where if you take a look at the last one day, so last 24 hours at Legend, this number, which is already astronomically high at 63%, goes all the way up to 72.3%. The next closest card, Miracle Salesman at 46%, Reno Lone Ranger at 37%. And if you look at Wild, it's in about a quarter of decks there too. Like, it's a super common card. Renethal does have it trump, but you'll note the card does not perform particularly well. People just love the card. That's why it was always so popular in the first place, but they nerfed it anyways, and I'm still bitter. I know the card's rotated, it's been reverted, but I'm still harping on it. And it's just a crazy thing that a card is this common, 70.3. Again, that's after last 3 days, last 1 day, 72. It keeps going up, and it's not just like one build, right? Like, let's take a look at how this card is being utilized. One of the more common ways, like right now in Arena Warrior, which is very popular, you have the 9 mana version, which takes the 2 modules here of Twin Module, where you get a copy of it, and then another one where you have the Divine Shield, Taunt, Light, Steel Rush, so you can bring it back with Inventor Boom. It's just a lot of healing and taunt, so that's pretty good. But it's just more than that. It's crazy to see the versatility of this card, why it's seeing so much play. There's a new deck emerging that people are really starting to get scared of. I'm not a fan of it. Our new Rogue deck, the Ziliax Rogue, it doesn't even play the Giants. It's literally all about playing Power Module, where at the start of your turn, double this minion's attack, and then having the Virus Module, Stealth, Elusive, Poisonous, Reborn. You can't interact with the minion. It's got Stealth, it doubles up, and then you slap your, you know, your Spark bots, whether they have Wind Fury or you have your Spider bot. And this deck is emerging as a top threat right now, and I don't think people are going to love it. This is one of the instances of Ziliax, I feel, not being super cool and all of that. But you got Zoo Hunter, which has been utilizing it basically since day one, and again utilizing that super nerf ticking module that went from 4 to 5 with the Pylon module buffing up all your other minions. And then you have utilization as well with like Wheel Warlock. Not only is it using it as a life steal type of way of staying alive, but an anti-fatigue and shuffling it into your deck. And all these modules have already seen a lot of play. People are finding new and new ways to experiment with it to make it you know, break the game like we're seeing with Rogue. Take a look at my saved ones. It's already changed up a bunch, and it's going to be interesting to see how this card evolves as more cards are added that can maybe abuse it, make it more versatile. And it's already been nerfed once. We already can get a full dust refund on the card. And again, in Wild, this OTK combo deck, Garrote Rogue, like, just, it's all about trying to kill your opponent, still utilizes Ziliax. It's got the 8 mana version where you have cost 1 less for each minion in play, you buff your other minions. So you see some common trends, but it is probably the most powerful, unique card that doesn't outright win the game most of the time. Although Rogues is built around that. It's just incredibly versatile. And what I want to have this discussion with, is this good for the game? Is this a healthy thing for one card to be in 60, 72% of decks or whatever? When Prince Renathal was really high up in those numbers, my argument for the card was that it lets you play the game in a different way you normally couldn't otherwise. It wasn't so much that every deck was 40 cards and felt the same. There's a lot of different 40 card decks. It felt kind of like, to me, it felt healthy. I thought it was fine. I know there are the aggro players like, oh no, 10 extra health, wah, but they still could win consistently. Aggro was always top tier during that. But you look at Reno, or not Reno, I read the deck title. You look at Ziliax, I feel like it's the same thing, right? Like, it's in 72% of the decks, or 60% of the decks, whatever you want to say it, but it's not really the same card in all the decks. They're all very, you know, they can vary quite a lot. Yeah, like the ticking one feels similar where you get that mana cheat, but then you have like more controlling options with the copy, the lifesteal, the anti-fatigue has a completely different feel than the majority of the Ziliaxes. The whole stealth, elusive, reborn, and doubling feels completely different. And there was also, I've seen like Demon Hunter for a while was just using Haywire module at the end of your turn, deal 3 damage and doubling just a bunch of stats. Like, that felt very different too. So the card, I think, is doing an absolute perfect job of what it's supposed to be, of being a card that you can figure out a way to slot into any deck out there using these modules, and it typically doesn't feel outright broken and unfair. The ticking module did at the beginning. I would argue it feels a little bit more reasonable, maybe a bit more busted. I feel like the complaints about this module, the Stealth, Elusive, Poisonous, Reborn, will be emerging soon with that deck picking up in popularity. The win rates are pretty strong on it. But overall, I think the card has lived up to the Ziliax name of being the super popular, awesome card that you can slot into almost any deck, make it work, make it unique to that deck, make it unique to that playstyle, and just be a really fun, cool card like the original Ziliax, right? Like, that went into almost every deck, and it was similar in a way that like the aggro decks could use it as a buffed magnetic, and the control decks could just use it to heal and remove. It had that versatility. This is just on a whole different level, and is the first ever custom card in Hearthstone. I think they've hit a home run with it. Again, maybe it'll need to be nerfed again. It's already available for full dust, so if you want to try it out for a little bit, that is Janet for full dust, you can. But it's like the safest craft I think I've ever seen at Hearthstone, and it is just such a cool, good card that is at the levels of something I have never seen before. I thought it warranted its own discussion video, and I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say about the card. If it's too OP, it's too common, or is it just perfection, unity, precision? Is it just the perfect custom Hearthstone card? Anyways, let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.